Hello beautiful people, I welcome you to my channel. My name is Pant. So if you're new to this channel, please do me a favor to subscribe and remember to turn on your notification bell so that anytime I upload a new video, you will be first to get notified. Today I'm going to show you how to create a pattern to making your short trouser pants, a pattern to do that. And actually I'm going to be showing you how to do this with two different methods. On this video I'll show you how to create this pattern with a method, and another video I will show you a different method as well. You can actually watch the two of them and decide which one you feel will be easier for you to work with. But I can assure you that the two methods are very simple to understand and straightforward as well. Then also before this, you might also want to watch the video on how to take a proper measurement for a trouser part. Okay, when you do that, I can assure you that everything we are going to be doing here will be very simple. Okay, so to be creating a trouser pant, we need to know the measurements required. The measurements I'm using to create this short trouser pant is a length of 20 inch. Okay, and I'm going to take my measurement right now, but starting from my waistline. But for my waistline, I need 2 inches band. I'm going to put in a 2 inches band on the edge. Okay, so which means I'm going to take away that 2 inches band here. I'll start taking my measurement from this 2 inch band. So right now I place my tape rule like so. I start taking my measurements. First I get my hip measurement, which is 9, my crotch measurement, which is 14, and the length of the trouser pants, which is 20. Then of course an extra 2 inch allowance to folding it at the down part. The next thing I need to do now is to connect this line to form a straight line. Okay, now that we have gotten our lines in place, the next thing I will be showing you now is to take the measurement on this lines that have been created. On this hip line, I will insert my hip measurement. The hip measurement I'm working with is 44 inches. I divide it by 4, that makes it what? 11 inches. I'll place my 11 inches here, and I'll put an allowance of 2 inch here. On the crotch line, which is the round flap measurement, okay, is 26. I'm working with 26 is the round flap measurement. I'll divide it by 2. I'll also remind you that for a pant trouser, your waist and your hip measurements you divide by 4, but for every other measurement from the round nail to the round flap to the ankle, if it's a full length trouser, you divide by 2. So on this round flap measurement, which is 26, I'm dividing by 2, and that gives me 13. And the allowance I'm going to add for this crotch line is just 1 inch allowance. Okay, 1 inch allowance. Then I'll bring my ruler this way. On this hip line, draw a straight line here. Take my tape rule at this edge here. I'll put my tape rule at an angle this way and map out 1 inch. This 1 inch I'm mapping out just to help me create my crotch here. Gently take this. Okay, and we have created our crotch here. Now, the next thing I'm going to do now is this hip line. I'm just going to extend this line straight down to the waistline. Can you see this? The next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to take my waist measurement from here to this place. Please do not get confused. Remember, we have been taking our measurement from here. Assuming this is our pattern, assuming it's your fabric and it is on fold. Okay. we have been taking our measurements, our hip measurement starting from here, and our round measurement starting from here. Now, taking the waist measurement, we are now going to start from here to take the measurement to this place. The reason why we are doing this is so that we will be able to get our curve on the side. That is what is going to be achieved at the end of the day. So from here now, I place my tape and take my waist measurement, which is 38. I divide it by 4, and that is 9.5. I mark it out here with an allowance of 2 inch. And so here is my waistline now. Okay. Now we move on to this part. In order to get my round nail measurements and every other measurement going down, if it is a full length trouser, I need to get a center in order to achieve that. Now from this crotch line here, I will place my tape hook from this crotch line at this point, take the whole measurement I have here, and from here I have 14. Okay, divide it into 2. My 14 divided by 2 is what? 7. I go again. Place your tape rule on this crotch line here, all the way to the down part. Whatever you get, which is here is 14, divide it into 2. And what do you have? 7 inches. 7 inches. So that 7 inches is what I'm going to use to create my center from this line, from unfold. So from here now, I'll be creating my center by marking out that 7 inches here and the same thing here. Okay, so I'm just going to draw this line. Now I have the center point I am working with. Now the next thing to do now is to fix my rounding measurement, and the rounding measurement I am working with is 22. Okay, remember I said on this part, starting from here, every measurement you have, you divide it by 2. Okay, now I'm working with 22 inches as the round nail measurement. That 22 inches, I'm going to divide it now into 2, which is what? 11. The 11, I'm going to split that 11. I'm not just going to start placing my 11 starting from here. This is where this center line is going to be useful. That 11 inches now, I will split it into 2 again. So I'll place it into 2 and share it between these 2 points. So from this center here, my 11 divided by 2 is 5.5. So from this center point, I'll mark 5.5 here. And the same thing, I will come here and mark 5.5 here. I hope you can see that. I will go here the same way. I'll mark out my 5.5 here also. I'll come to this side also and mark out my 5.5. Good. Now, not forgetting the allowance that we are going to add. Probably might be 2 inch or 1.5. Let's work with 2 inch allowance. Remember, we're adding 2 inch allowance at the waist and at the hip. Adding 2 inch allowance here also. I'm also going to split the allowance of 2 inch into 2, which means on this part, I'll add my allowance of 1 inch. On this part, I'll mark my allowance of 1 inch. I'm working with 1.5 inch, I'll split it into 2. That means on this part, I'll mark an allowance of say about 3/4. I'll mark an allowance of 3/4 inch. So splitting my allowance into 2, I will come here and mark 1 inch. I'll come here also mark 1 inch. I'll do the same thing to this other side, the down part, 1 inch, and I'll come here, I'll mark 1 inch. I hope you understand that. Let me quickly go over it again. Remember, we took our crotch length from here to this point. The what we got here was 14. We splitted it into 2 to be able to get our center. So we started marking out that center, which is 7 inches here, 7 inches here. We got a straight line for the center. Then got the 2 inch allowance. Got the round circle measurement, which is 22. Divided it by 2, give up 11, divide it into 2 again to split it on these 2 parts. And at the same time, we also divided the allowance into 2. I hope you understand that. So the next thing I'm going to do now is just what? Draw out my line. I'll just place my tape in like this. And the same thing now, from this waistline, I'll connect it to the hip. Then from this hip, I take it to this part. From the waistline here to the hip line. Then from this hip line, this way. Can you see this, guys? We are almost done creating this front piece. The next thing I'm going to do now, on this edge here, I'm going to go in by 1 inch. From this point here. I go in by 1 inch here and take it all the way to this point to create a slant. Can you see that? The reason why we are doing this is because the front center is supposed to be in, while the back one is going to be higher. So this 1 inch we have taken away from this front side, we are going to put it back on the back piece. I hope you understand that. We are going to put it back on the back piece. So I'm going to cut out, but I'm not going to cut out this part yet until I put it on my back piece. The next thing I'll do now is to cut out. So guys, we have succeeded in creating the front pattern of our trouser pants. And this is it. This is the front pattern of the trouser pants. So the next thing I'll do now is to place it on another pattern to get the back piece. I'll place it like so. In order to have it in place, I would like to hold it down with a pin. Okay, so now that we have this in place, we'll go ahead to map out for our back piece. Now, on this crotch line here, I'm going to mark 1.5 inch. 1.5 inch here. I'm mapping out 3/4 inch here. What I'll do now is to connect it to this point. Like so. Okay? Coming to this side now, all I need to do is to take it this way and let it align to the tip of this front piece. Okay, you can gently do that with a cup, or if you can with a free hand, you can do that as well. Gently do that. Can you see that? Okay. Now, remember I said the back part pattern is usually higher than the front. So I am going to add my 1 inch here. Remember, we are going to cut this off, but I need to input my 1 inch. Afterwards, I can now cut this off from my front piece. So here, I will go off by 1 inch. Then from this point, I'll form my slant all the way to this place. From here, can you see this? Okay. The next thing I will do now is on this back part, I will come out by 1 inch. The reason why I'm doing this is because of the dart we are going to be putting at the back piece. So I'll just extend this to this 1 inch, then I'll take it all the way to this hip line. Can you see this? The next thing is to trace the remaining parts out, and that will be it. So I'll just go ahead and cut out. Can you see this? So I'll just take this out, separate them. So at this point, I will now cut out for my front piece, this upper part. Guys, and that is it. This is how to create the pattern. It's for the front piece and also for the back piece. This is it, guys. I'm just going to label this front piece and this one back. I'll call this method 1 and this one method 1 as well. And that is it, guys. I hope you understand this. You can see it's very, very simple. Okay, on the next video I'm going to show you how to create this same pattern using another method. Okay, I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. Please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, share, and also subscribe to my channel. See you on the next video, guys. Bye.